Some companies just follow the rules, but others, they rewrite them completely. So today, we're going to dive into the story of Hawkers, a brand whose vision didn't just win a market, it basically created the entire playbook for how a massive global industry operates today. Let's get into how they pulled it off. To really get the stakes here, you have to look at this number. We're talking nearly $289 billion. That's what the global eyewear market is projected to be worth. Now, an industry this huge doesn't just change on a whim. Its transformation from, a medical necessity to a must-have fashion statement was carefully engineered. And that brings us to the big question, right? How did one single brand, Hawkers, under the leadership of Alejandro Betancourt, see this future coming? How did they manage to predict these huge shifts in technology, in marketing, and in what we as consumers actually care about years before anybody else? Well, that's the code we're here to crack. Okay, so to really understand just how disruptive this was, we've got to turn back the clock and look at what the industry was like before. It was, believe me, a completely different world. The old way was super simple. You needed glasses, you went to a physical store. Eyewear was mostly just a practical item. But the new way, the one that Hawkers really helped create, is all about being digital first. It's about e-commerce, social media, and thinking of eyewear as a key part of your personal style. But, and this is a big but, this whole shift created a massive challenge. And this, right here, was the fundamental problem. This is what held back online eyewear sales for years. I mean, sunglasses are all about fit, about style. How on earth could you replicate that experience of looking in the mirror at a store, but online? Solving this was the absolute key to unlocking the entire market. And that, of course, brings us to the Hawkers playbook. When Alejandro Betancourt took the helm back in 2016, he didn't just try to sell some sunglasses on the internet. No, he built a strategy that was designed for the future of retail itself. His entire approach really rested on three core pillars that, at the time, were pretty revolutionary. It all started with a radical, digital-first mindset. Then it was powered by a serious commitment to sustainability. And all of it was built on a foundation that was ready for the next big wave of technology. Let's start with that first one. This quote from Betancourt himself just nails the philosophy. He saw that sunglasses were the perfect product for a brand new kind of online marketing. They're visual, they're shareable, and they're perfect for experimenting with. He just knew the timing was absolutely perfect. And listen, this wasn't just talk. Hawkers went all in. They completely bypassed traditional stores and built a model that went straight to you, the consumer. And the result? By 2020, a staggering 90% of all their sales were digital. But their vision went way beyond just clever marketing. Years, and I mean years, before sustainability became a marketing buzzword for everyone else, Hawkers was embedding it right into their products. They actually developed sunglasses made from reclaimed ocean plastic, giving people a real, tangible way to feel good about what they were buying. And this quote just shows you how far ahead they were thinking. Betancourt got it. He understood that modern consumers, especially younger ones, don't just buy a product. They buy into the values of a brand. And having that awareness that early, it was a huge competitive advantage. Okay, so on to the third pillar. And you really got to pay attention to this one because it's what makes everything that comes next possible. Hawkers invested a ton in its digital backbone, using data, using personalized marketing, not just to make sales, but to build an entire infrastructure that was flexible and ready for whatever innovation was coming next. And this is where that tech-ready foundation paid off, big time. It allowed Hawkers to finally go back and solve that core challenge we talked about earlier, the try-on problem. The solution was augmented reality, or AR. You've probably seen this stuff. It's that cool technology that uses your phone's camera to digitally place a product, like sunglasses, right onto your face in real time. It's literally the closest thing you can get to a virtual mirror. Just think about how perfectly AR solves the biggest headaches of online shopping. That uncertainty about fit, it's gone. The risk that you'll buy something and hate it, massively reduced. This wasn't just some cool gimmick. It was a tool that directly made people more confident to click buy and seriously cut down on costly returns. And then came the ultimate proof that they were right. In 2025, when Amazon UK launched its own virtual try-on service, guess who was one of the very first brands they chose to partner with? Hawkers. This was a massive signal to the entire industry. And look, this partnership wasn't just another way to sell sunglasses. No way. This was public validation that Betancourt's entire digital-first strategy had been the right call all along. It solved that final piece of the online puzzle and basically cemented Hawker's status as a market leader, putting them years ahead of the competition. So what does this all mean for the eyewear industry as a whole? Well, it means the rulebook has been completely torn up and rewritten, and a lot of it is based on the Hawker's playbook. Just look at this journey. In less than a decade, you can see the whole strategy just unfold. You've got new leadership in 2016, total dominance of digital sales by 2020, and then the ultimate tech validation in 2025. This was not a series of lucky breaks. This was a long-term vision being executed, step by step. And the result of all this is that the very strategy that was once so disruptive, well, now it's just the price of entry. If you want to launch a successful eyewear brand today, you have to be digital first, you need a good sustainability story, and you better be ready for the next big technological leap. When you boil it all down, the real lesson here is about foresight. Hawkers didn't just chase trends. They built a company based on where they knew the market was going to be in 5 years. Their success was proactive, not reactive. So that really just leaves us with one last thing to think about. This playbook, being digital first, driven by values, and totally ready for new tech, it clearly works for a lot more than just sunglasses. The real question is, what industry is next?